Morning, folks. Welcome to the Joey Show. I'm Joey Avery, and today, as you listen to this, is September 5th, the year of our Lord, 2024, and that means that football is back. Can you feel the excitement? Can you feel the excitement? Because a lot of people listening to this program are excited, and a lot of people are really, really not. And that's what I love about football. Not only the ability to bring the country together, but the ability to tear the country apart. Not just between Niners, go Niners, and Cowboys fans, but between those who love football, between those who engage in America's most religious religion, the game of football, and people who are like, stop. Like the people who lose loved ones to a Bermuda Triangle known as the NFL Red Zone. People who have people in their lives who dedicate Saturday and Sunday to watching football all day, and you're sitting around going, maybe you should go to Pilates and work on that big boiler. And your husband says, fuck you, you whore. No, I'm just kidding. He's a nice guy, but he works hard. Okay? He works hard, and this is how he wants to unwind. He wants to play fantasy ball with his boys. He wants to be in a group chat that says mean, bad, cancelable things. He wants to watch a game he barely even understands. He doesn't know the formations. He doesn't know the reads. He doesn't know the plays, but he wants to be a part of something because he doesn't want to miss out because football's back. Football back. Sit hot, down, sit hot. It's exciting. Okay, football being back is very exciting. So what we've done for you today at the Joey Show is we have prepared a guide to football being back that is both for the football fan and the person who hates football. Okay, we have several fun things that we're going to do. We're going to profile some new guys in a segment we're going to call Coaches Are Lunatics. It's true. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of football. We are going to do some fun things. We're going to do most toxic traits of football fans, how to have a parlay and drink too much on Sundays and not ruin your life. We also have things you can say that are completely neutral that will satisfy everybody, that will make people think you know about football even if you don't. So if you don't like football, we're going to give you a few cheat codes. You can, you're sitting at a bar and, some drunk guy next to you is yammering on about something and you want to say one thing and engage and then get him the fuck out of your life so you can enjoy B-dubs in peace. Imagine enjoying B-dubs. Imagine being a person who loves B-dubs but doesn't like football. And then going on a Sunday and being like, I just wanted honey sriracha boneless wings. Why is everyone screaming at a television? I'm here for the cuisine. Do you think I go to B-dubs for the environment? I go for the cuisine. I'm a boneless wing man, all right? I wish chickens were made boneless. I wish they were just little blobs of meat that I could fry immediately. That is the American way of eating. We don't use the whole deer, all right? Okay. So, what do they do with the bones? Does someone get those? Is there a fired up soup manufacturer that's like, football's back? That means daddy's getting extra broth. I'm getting all the bones of these chickens. I haven't looked much. I think we're supposed to be nicer to chickens. Be nice to chickens. But also, if you're looking for a lean protein, fuck them up. All right, that's not the point. Let's get into football season. Okay, I'm very excited. I guess I'll tell you a little bit about my experience with football because I have empathy for people on both sides of the football realm. I grew up in a sports watching household. We love sports, Bay Area sports in particular, except for University of Michigan. Shout out to Grandpa, go Blue, national title winners, not a big deal. Are they going to win it this year? Doesn't really matter. I got my nut. Niners, on the other hand, brought me to the Super Bowl, made me very sad. Did we cover it in episode 1 of this podcast? Here's me by a river being sad. It's February 12th, 10 a.m., and the 49ers have lost the Super Bowl last night in heartbreaking fashion. I thought I would put on my Niners gear and walk out into the forest and think about what this all means. It's beautiful. This is what life is about. This is what it's about, I think. It's about water and dirt, being connected. These are things that God created. The Super Bowl is a man-made creation, and it's bullshit. A ball hit a dude's ankle? A blocked extra point? Oh, look at my jacket. We won. No one cares. No one cares. They shouldn't care. You know what matters? Water, earth, plant life. The Chiefs, of all people. What did we see last night out of the Chiefs? Oh, Travis Kelce abuses elders. Mahomes' dad gets DUIs. His brother's a sex pest. We're supposed to hold this family up? They're criminals. I'm not bitter. I'm happy. I'm good. I'm fantastic, to be quite honest. I am great. We don't need sports. They're silly. They're stupid. All right? Go be great today. Write a poem. Do something lovely. God damn it. So that's where I am, okay? I am a fan. But I grew up, I tried to play football. I always liked it. I thought it looked cool. I'm a huge fan of pageantry. Like, I think that a lot of people are this way with football. We just like being involved in something large that is happening. There are not that many people who watch football, who are reading schemes, who have an opinion about a defense, who know what the quarterback's read is, who know what's supposed to happen on any given play. We talked about this with David Bakhtiari on this show. He says some of the players don't even know all the plays. It's a very complex game, but sometimes it's very simple. I want to be where the action's at. And in a lot of towns in America, the action is at the football stadium on Saturday and Sunday, and I want to be a part of that. All right? When I was growing up, I would see players coming out, doing the dance, breaking up a pass, hitting the first down. And that's what I would pretend to do. I'd be down in my basement, diving, catching a ball, landing on my mattress, getting up, being like, well, you already know what it is. Pretending I'm picking up at a fumble at the end of a game, because watching the games is comforting when you grow up with that in your house. There's an ASMR quality to football on a Sunday night, okay, when Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth is on, whoever the fuck the Sunday team is now. It feels like home. It is home. It's deeply embedded in your psyche. It's fall. It's the holidays, okay? Bright colors, bright lights, you're with family. I can fucking taste the Thanksgiving turkey as I'm telling you this. So it's embedded in a lot of our lives, and that's why I appreciate it so much. So growing up, I was like, oh, I'm going to be a football player. Didn't grow up to be quite the sturdy man that you thought. I played Pop Warner for 1 year. 1 year. 1 month. All right, I was on a team, and I started getting fucking wrecked, and I did not like it so much. I was not doing well. And it's a different kind of pain with football that I was not ready for. Okay, because what I was actually good at was hockey and baseball. And baseball is just, for great athletes like myself. Hockey, you also get to fuck people up, but the pads are designed to be softer. I remember distinctly carrying a football at a practice and doing like a tackling drill, and some dude took the metal from his face mask and hit me full speed on the bones of my hand with the football in there, and I thought, oh no, I don't know if I can do this. So I ended up saying, fine. I played Pop Warner for this month, right? Because I wanted to get loose going into the high school season. 1 month in, I was like, football sucks and it's totally whack. I'm going to go back to what I'm good at. Went back to play hockey and baseball. And it came to find out if I just waited a year and played in high school, I probably would have played and had a good experience. But the team that I was on went on to get second place in the Pop Warner Super Bowl. So I basically got my shit pushed in by a bunch of bigger and stronger kids when I was in 8th grade, and I was like, you guys suck. And I had like bleach blonde hair, and I was like listening to, AFI and Nirvana and shit, and I was all moody, and I was like, I don't even think you get chicks. You guys are pussies. Then high school rolls around, and all these guys that I didn't even think were cool have the hot chicks at the school wearing the football jersey. I was pissed off. I didn't like that one tiny bit. I said, you just wait here a goddamn minute. That guy sucks. He's not even good. The team's not good. He's a hard 4. And one of the hottest girls in the school is wearing his jersey. I'm out here grinding it out at the baseball field, trying to get 3 old ladies and 1 young girl to watch a single goddamn game. This is bullshit. This is America's pastime. So I had a bit of an axe to grind with football because it was getting in the way of me and attention from girls. And I liked that. Call me crazy. So I was always kind of like, screw our football team in high school, whatever. And I kind of was just like, football guys are overrated. They think they're sick because they got all this shine, and it pissed me off as a young man when I was involved with that. But then I went to a college to play baseball. Got cut. We've talked about it. Sent an email. You can go back and listen. There was no football team at that school, and that meant there was no competition. And that meant that it was not so in my face that I had to deal with these cocky football guys taking all the beautiful, beautiful girls from me. I didn't like that. Those were my beautiful, beautiful girls. They weren't, but I wanted to think that they were. And that's life. But I finally was able to kind of get back into the fan thing. Okay, I'm going to be in a fantasy league. Okay, I'm going to start watching on Sundays. Me and the boys are going to talk about it. And then you start having this kind of disconnect from feeling like you're competing with these guys. And then you kind of get to fall fully into the fan experience. And the fan experience from football is powerful. It's palpable. It's a huge part of the American experience. And it is completely divorced from the game itself. Players know this. There are guys who have played, a guy who has a great podcast, Greenlight, Chris Long, met him at the Beer Olympics, lovely guy. He was a great football player, 2nd overall draft pick, played the game. I remember listening to his podcast when he did his first kind of year out of the game as a media member, and he was kind of blown away. He all of a sudden was like, holy shit, I've never had this experience of Sunday hits, and instead of focusing on your game, focusing on your assignments, getting ready to get the shit kicked out of you, you just sit in a comfy, air-conditioned room, a man cave of sorts, 5 TVs going, IPAs flowing, parlays going crazy, group chats going crazy. You're a part of a thing. And there is one of the great drivers in my life is FOMO. I think it's actually a positive. People talk about fear of missing out all the time as if it's this horrible negative thing that, distracts you and keeps you away from fun things or, important things. But I think sometimes it's a powerful thing. It says, hey, let's be involved. I want to be a part of something. Am I in Greenville, South Carolina? Was I there alone last year? Clemson's playing a game? I'm going. Am I going to be in Minnesota this year? Sunday, Niners are there. Extending my flight, going alone. I'm there. I'm not missing out. I want to see it. I want to be a part of it. I want to be in the town. I want to see the people at their most hyped up for the week. I want to see people in celebration mode. I want to get it. But the fan experience and the player experience is just so different. There is the whole side of football that's about the analytics, and then there's a side of football that's about playing the actual game, and then there's just being a fucking dirtbag fan with a parlay, an IPA, and a dream. And that's a special thing to do. But it's not for everybody, because a lot of people get pissed off because they don't like it at all. They barely understand it, and they don't like that it takes up their entire life. So we are going to give everyone a little bit of background here, all right? And we're going to start, actually, with a little history of the game that I thought was kind of funny. But before we do, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. That's right, this is my YouTube. Right now, I used to plug this at the beginning of the show. Right now, the podcast lives here. I am going to have to move it at some point, so go to youtube.com/@JoeyShowPodcast. I'll put a link in the description. Subscribe there. Right there, I'm putting clips there, or right now, I'm putting clips there. Eventually, the podcast is going to have to go to its own thing because I think it's not helping the stand-up I post or the pod to have it all in one place, but I'm an old fucking man, and I don't understand how YouTube works. But nevertheless, please please subscribe if you're listening on Spotify, rating. If you're listening on Apple, rating. If you're sitting on a train next to a homeless man, give him an AirPod. Let him listen. Let him listen, him or her. It's usually guys, isn't it? I know there's both, but are there more homeless men than women? That's a topic for another show. What does that mean? What does it mean? Just leave me a rating. Tell friends about it. It's a fun thing. Okay. So let's talk about this. When I think about football again, I segment out the experience of playing it, being a part of it, and then the fan experience, because I think they're so different. And there's a man who knew they were different, a man who loved football, but a man who never really got to play, who actually saved the game. And that man is Teddy Roosevelt. That's right, folks. We're going to do a little history. I think it'll be fun because there's a few funny things that I picked up when I was looking at this. Politico wrote an article about this. It was back in 2014 when people were coming at football. Remember when people were like, oh, football is bad for you and concussions and all that, and then we just kind of were like, yeah, get it, baked it in and moved on? What happened to that? Now they wear funny hats in practice, fine. I think that they have made the game safer. That is good. When you watch clips from the early 2000s, boys was getting fucked up, and we thought that was rough. Well, it used to be even rougher. Here's a little bit from this Politico article. Football grew out of East Coast prep schools and universities in the 19th century. The game was a loosely structured affair similar to rugby and soccer, with the sparse set of basic rules changing from campus to campus. Rutgers and Princeton played the first intercollegiate game in 1869. Rutgers 6, Princeton 4. Barn burner of a match. Rutgers versus Princeton, 6-4, more like 6 to midnight. That's firing me up. I want to see Sir Thaddeus McDanglestein IV run the pigskin 10 yards. I love the old helmets, the little flappy leather things. A contest that featured now this is interesting. This is where we bring it back to comedy. This contest featured the first ever heckle. Get ready, guys. Gird your loins for some real hot shit. A Rutgers professor chided a Princeton player by exclaiming, You will come to no Christian end. You will come to no Christian end. That is a great heckle. Try that one. Try that one out. Someone does something that pisses you off. You will come to no Christian end, you putz-a-nanny. Don't try me. It's like he's just straight up calling him a Jew. That's what passed at the Ivy Leagues back in the day. He was like, yeah, basically you might be Jew or something. You will come to no Christian end. Roosevelt, Theodore, was too sickly and frail as a young man to play football, but as a Harvard undergraduate, he attended the second ever meeting between Crimson and Yale, the first game featuring only 11 men on each side of the ball. Yale won 1-0. Very, very interesting story about how Teddy Roosevelt saved football. I'm going to explain that. I'm not just going to sit here and read, I promise, but this is from the History Channel, and it was really interesting to me how brutal football really used to be. Okay, I didn't realize this. The college game drew tens of thousands of spectators and rivaled professional baseball and fan appeal already at the turn of the 20th century, but in the early 1900s, it was lethally brutal. A grinding, bruising sport in which the forward pass was illegal and brute strength was required to move the ball. Gang tacklers buried ball carriers under a ton and a half of tangled humanity. So people were just dying like crazy. In 1904 alone, there were 18 football deaths and 159 serious injuries, mostly among prep school players. Obituaries of the young pigskin players ran on a nearly weekly basis during the football season. The carnage appalled America. Newspaper editorials called on colleges and high schools to banish football outright. The once athletic sport has degenerated into a contest for brutality that is little better than the gladiatorial combats in the arena in ancient Rome. So people used to just die. Like, people were dying routinely. It was part of the game, and Teddy kind of liked that. He said, in life as in football, the principle is hit the line hard, don't foul, and don't shirk, but hit the line hard. I've had friends tell me that in the bathroom of a dive bar. In 1903, the president told an audience, I believe in rough games and in rough, manly sports. I do not feel any particular sympathy for a person who gets battered about a good deal so long as it's not fatal. But it was very fatal. People were dying left and right. Teddy Roosevelt helped. He helped fix the game by encouraging the forward pass. He has a huge part to do in where the game is now. And one of the things that I recall him talking about was essentially that he didn't respect the fact that it became such a fan favorite. He wanted people to play the game. He thought that the game was about instilling those hard values, living a hard life. That's what Teddy Roosevelt was all about. He was about getting hard. That's what his entire thing was, walk softly and carry a big stick. He was bricked 24/7. That was one of his main things. He went hunting for bears. Is that a euphemism? Maybe he was plowing fellas. I don't know. Okay, apparently he was tatted up. He was an interesting man, but he saved football, and I didn't realize how brutal it was. I didn't realize that dudes at Yale were beating the shit out of each other to death. It's the most I've respected Yale. Now what are they, reading each other books? These guys are pussies. Get out there and kill each other on the grid line like a real man. But no, Teddy Roosevelt's famous quote about it, or about anything, but it's a bit about football, is, of course, the man in the arena, Tom Brady, likes it. We'll read it here, and then we'll move on from Mr. Roosevelt. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions? Who spends himself in a worthy cause? Who at the best knows, in the end, the triumph of high achievement, and who, at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory or defeat. And people love this quote. People talk about this quote. Tom Brady named his documentary after this quote, The Man in the Arena. It is all about the people who stand, who fight, who are open to criticism. And a lot of people see that as a divide. A lot of people see that as the people who go out there and play football versus the fat fuck on his couch who sits there and criticizes everything, who wouldn't be able to make a goddamn play, who doesn't know how to read a defense. And what I say to those people is, you've never placed a parlay. You've never placed a parlay. Because if you had placed a parlay, if you'd been in a fantasy league, okay, if you had told people at the start of the day what your bets were and then had to sit there and get ridiculed by an entire group chat, you'd know there are a lot of arenas on Sunday. A lot of arenas on Sunday. It's not just MetLife here in New York where people's knees are exploding because the turf is so bad and they won't fix it. Fix it. Okay? There are a lot of arenas. It's not just for the men who play. It's for the men who watch, but also play side games and waste their family's money. Placing parlays, all right? Maybe sometimes you have a couple drinks and you go, I'm just going to throw one in right now because I want to feel alive. And guess what? It does not go well. It rarely does. If it did, there wouldn't be so much money in sports gambling. Why haven't one of them sponsored me? I'm basically giving a fucking ad. The Man in the Arena is all of us, okay? And the only people who this isn't about is the people who judge us for enjoying the game. I'm just kidding. Inclusive podcast, okay? This is for everybody. You don't have to like football. You don't have to like football, which is why we helped prepare a little guide here. Okay, this guide is called Completely Neutral but Sophisticated Things to Say About Teams to Sound Smart If You Don't Know Anything About Football. All right? This is for everybody. You can use this if you love football, but you just want to like throw a little bone out to somebody and not really like dig in on anything. I think that's a nice thing to do. And some of these lists, I did have help. Matt Krasnowski, DC Comic, helped me with some of these lists. Helps with the clips. Another Man in the Arena for you. Okay, completely neutral but sophisticated things to say about teams to sound smart if you don't know anything about football. Note to myself, add a background music there. Was it good? Come on, guys. Tell me that was good. Who puts in more effort for the 12 listeners? Nobody. That's the 12th man out there. Thanks to everyone who comments. We appreciate it. Gonna figure out the algorithm one day. Okay. All right. Here's the first one. Boy, will Colorado be interesting this year. Okay? That's a key part. Colorado, we're talking about Deion Sanders' football team, college football team, the Colorado Buffaloes play out there in Boulder. You want to say they'll be interesting. Because, again, we want to satisfy everyone here. You don't want to have a take. Baseline, the whole story with them, they're like if an Instagram was a football team. Okay? Like they are influencer culture football teams. So people have their own opinions about it. People can ascribe their thoughts about influencer culture onto them. There are old school people, albeit sometimes with a racial tinge, that will say things about like how they're all spoiled, how they don't have what it takes to win a game. Teddy Roosevelt wouldn't like this team. Okay? Deion Sanders is a flashy coach. Okay, he brought in a bunch of players from the transfer portal. He was like, we going to do things different. They had one big win early last year against a team that didn't end up being that good. They sold out like 5 years of season tickets. And so it's like hype.com. They put their Instagram handles on their practice jerseys. Yucky. But at the same time, you could say, hey, embrace it. The new era of college football is that these players are making money, is that they're building their name and likeness. Play into that. Deion himself was flashy. Why not be flashy here? You can be flashy. You can play into the new world. You can be a forward-looking program. You can also play ball, and that might attract better players. Problem is, when your back's against the wall, some of those players might break. But they have two great players, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter. They're going to be fun to watch. Some would say they're going to be interesting. But if you want to say, yeah, they suck, they don't have what it takes, that's a great point. Okay, they're probably not going to be a great team. They have not built through the trenches. I don't believe they have a great offensive or defensive line. Again, you're not going to get into that. You might not care about football. They're an interesting case study to watch as we observe where the college game goes. I'm going to jump off from this right here because where the college game has gone is one of the most interesting and uniquely American things probably in the world. I think college football is the most uniquely American thing in the world aside from school shootings. No, I'm just kidding. Am I? I don't know. But it is. There is no other country and no other amateur sport that's tied to a college in any other country that gets this. Some of the biggest stadiums in America are college stadiums, bigger than the pro stadiums. I got to do a semester at University of Cape Town in South Africa. South Africa, known for their rugby. Springboks, known for other things as well. Putting Mandela in jail. Springboks, people like better. So that's one of the things they're known for. I thought University of Cape Town, rugby, we're going to watch some ball. We got to go to some big games. One weekend, one of the international students, German fella, comes back and he goes, I'm on the rugby team. I said, what? He said, yes, I signed up for the rugby team. I'm on the rugby team now. I was like, how? Are you like next level good at rugby? He's like, oh, I've played a little rugby here and there. I was like, how the fuck did you make the rugby team at one of the most prestigious institutions in a rugby hotbed? And he's like, oh, you just sign up for it. It's like a club sport. And that's how I got a radio show, and that's how I ended up doing comedy. So they just kind of let people do whatever out there. I support it. But the games were like 10 people would go to them. It wasn't like a big deal. They're not selling concessions. They're not doing shit. You go to a Michigan game, it's like 100,000 people. Okay? It's a big fucking business. And what's amazing about it is it brings you to subcultures of America, to flyover states. That's kind of an outdated phrase. People are moving back to them. But it's like you go to Ole Miss, which is in the middle of fucking nowhere, and it's like this giant stadium, and it's what everyone's all about, and it's a religion, and the teams have bigger followings than a lot of the pro teams because they are the pro team in a lot of these places, and for the longest time, the players weren't getting paid, and now they are, and that's a good thing because they're getting paid for their work, as they should. However, now all of a sudden you have players transferring. It's basically a pro game. So you have this interesting dichotomy between the NFL and college football, where college football has turned into, as I can see it, just a full-on expression of free, rampant capitalism where young people are getting paid like crazy. The coaches are getting paid like crazy. The money is consistent. Ohio State, I think, spent over $20 million on their roster this year. It's going to 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Guys are getting plucked out of other places. They're getting brand deals. They're getting tons of shit. And it's masked as this like innocent tradition of like, this is about tradition. This is about teaching values. That's what it used to be. The college football coach used to be like a priest, like a religious figure. You come see old ball coach. I teach you. I'll tell you what. I can't tell you if your son's going to play this year, man. I sure can. And boy, I wish. And he takes his hat off, tired at the kitchen table. Would you like some sweet tea? Well, Well, I hear you make it the best, ma'am. If you're making it, I suppose I will have it. But, man, while you make me my refreshment, I have to tell you something. I can't sit here at this table and tell you that your son's never going to sustain an injury. I can't tell you he's going to be a starter. And I can't tell you he's going to make the league. But I'll tell you this. When you get him back from this program, he's going to be a good goddamn man. He's going to be a good goddamn man. All right? And that's what we build. We seek to build men at this program, not just football players, not superstars. We build men. The accent's going between a lot of things, but we're here to build men. All right? That's like what it was. And then a guy comes in, it's like a movie. It's like a sports movie. The guy comes in from high school, and it's like, oh, Hotshot thinks he's the quarterback. He's like, pretty sure I is a quarterback. Boom, they beat his ass up, and coach is like, well, quarterback, you look like more of an eighth back. We could do better. But that's what it was. It was, we are here to build men. And now we are paying and encouraging divas and superstars. And I'm not a fucking old school guy. I'm wearing a tracksuit. I just think that we're not teaching those old school lessons. We might be teaching more realistic lessons. This is probably how life actually works. You get eyeballs on you, you get money. You make 4 or 5 brand deals, that shit could go away. You might get left in the dust, but at least you'll make some money, and you should get paid for your labor. But it is this very, very free market thing getting disguised as, it still has the patina of the old tradition that it used to have. Whereas in the NFL, people look at it as this like ruthless, cold-blooded league where it's led by these, ancient, craggy, racist oil magnates, and it is. But it's actually kind of like an organized union of players that have a unified negotiating power with those owners, and they go back and forth and they negotiate, and there's a set salary cap, so the teams have some sort of ability to be even, where college football is like the friggin' Premier League. It's like there are like a few teams at the top who have a chance to do it. Every once in a while, a wild card can hop in there, and then a bunch of other people kind of competing beneath that. So that's just where we're at with the college and pro games. And I think it's interesting because it kind of provides 2 different yet at times accurate pictures of the country that we're in. And that's what football is. It is America. Ma'am, I thank you for the sweet tea, and I promise I will return him a better man. That's what it was. And now it's like the coach, now the coach is like actually like doing a TikTok out front, and he's like, actually, we heard your son's pretty lit at football, so if he wants to come here, we got fucking NIL deals and shit. He'll have a Mercedes hella quick. We'll help you pay off the house. And you want me to tag you in this, or do you want to collab it? We can collab it. I'm the cool coach. Ha, ha, ha. I'm fine with each. All right, there's a myth, but they're not going to be making Remember the Titans level movies about this. I'm not saying I want to go back to the segregation era, folks. That's not what we're doing. Okay, well that was one. It's going to take us a second to get through this list, but Colorado will be interesting this year. I have a good friend of mine who will get very mad if she sees this, but I don't think she will. Here's the second one. Man, Mahomes' wife is kind of annoying. Just say that. Say kind of. This is where you don't go too hard. Okay? Don't be one of those guys who's crazy, who's triggered because the girl's being crazy, having fun. But if you just go, Mahomes' wife is kind of annoying, people will say, you understand ball. Big year for Kyler Murray. If you don't know who he is, he's a short little quarterback, and boy, we love a short king. He's a short king. We represent short kings on this program. He plays for the Arizona Cardinals, and he is like one of those guys who's like really good, and you see it, but nothing's ever happened. And the way football works, and this is what's kind of depressing about the league, I imagine if you play in it, is it's like you have a really small window. You have a tiny chance. You can have won a Heisman. He did. You can be the number 1 draft pick. He has been. You can throw for a shitload of yards. You can be a top fantasy quarterback. You can do all that while being on a bad team. If it doesn't happen for you in a short period of time, even if it's your situation, eventually people just move on. And it's brutal. Is it a fair assessment for how life works for a lot of people? I guess. But it's less like a normal career, and it's more like dating. I think that's what being a quarterback in the NFL is. It's like dating someone who's out of your league. And if you slide in and all of a sudden it's just like you fit right in and it's grooving, it's like, fuck, then boom, you get married. You're Tom Brady. Nice. But if you go and it's like you're trying and it's like, it's my fault I couldn't make it to that event, or, it's a couple things when I'm sorry I had a weird night with your friends. It's just, I was going through a lot of work. It's like you only get a couple chances. And then you're gone. Big year for Kyler Murray. You can say that. Just say the Lions are good. People will be happy. They've been bad for forever. People who analyze football get really into trends. And so it's a real upswing, downswing thing because everyone just wants to talk about it. There's not as much to talk about as people do, which is why this is like the episode that we're going to do. We'll check in from time to time. Of course, we have football fans. I'm not going to do a big thing on football all the time. There's plenty of sports podcasts. You can listen to nerds who look at numbers. Baby, I don't look at numbers. I'm not going to do that. That's not what we do here. I'm not an analyst. I'm a man in a tracksuit with some thoughts and some vibes. All right? I'm a comedian who does a weird random Southern accent for a coach sometimes. That's what we do here. That's what we do for the 12. That's what we're going to call. That's what we're going to call the listeners to this. The Mighty 12. Okay? Thank you to the Mighty 12. 12th man. Fuck the Seahawks. But if you say the Lions are good, people will be happy. Their coach is fun. They have good vibes. Everyone wants them to do well. Did they get their hearts broken by the Niners? Suck my dick. Russell Wilson versus Justin Fields. That's the quarterback competition in Pittsburgh. All you need to know, if you don't know about them, it's Trump Biden. Okay? No one is excited about it. People were looking for Biden to drop out. That's Russell Wilson in this case. And the other guy, Justin Fields, is kind of erratic and you have no idea what he's going to do. That's Trump. Not fun, and just not fun for Pittsburgh. They're going to be a weird team. They're worth watching. But again, all you say is, boy, that's like Biden versus Trump. And people will be like, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. You say, I respect what Dabo is doing, but not sure if it's going to work. He's the coach of Clemson. He is not playing into the Deion Sanders thing we discussed, not doing transfer portal very much at all, trying to build a team. Ma'am, I've enjoyed the sweet tea, and I let you know I'm gonna make a man out of this, boy. Yeah, he's doing that. He got his shit pushed in by Georgia, so we respect it because we like what he's trying to do. Is it outdated? Looking to be. I hate Nick Saban as a coach, but I love him as an analyst. Nick Saban, previous coach of Alabama, the exemplification of old ball coach. Destroyed everyone's hopes and dreams for many years at Alabama, and everyone hated him. But he was an objectively great coach, and now as an analyst, he's fun. He said a funny thing about Ohio State. Roll the clip.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say you guys keep talking about a $20 million roster.
Yeah.
If you don't pay the right guys, you'll be shit out of luck.
That's life, baby. That's life. Congratulations. You just broke the internet.
It's always fun when these coaches show a personal side of themselves. Because there's just... Football coaches are fucking insane, generally. And they have to even play into that while they're the coach. There's like so much going on, so many things that they have to pay attention to. It's down to like, does the equipment coach know when to give the special teams guy his helmet? They're running a crazy multifaceted organization that succeeds or fails sometimes coming down to one play and one moment of one game. And so they live with this immense absurd stress, this absurd way of being that turns them into generally horrible family men, people who are absent from other parts of their life, people who aren't able to show personality unless they're trying to like really hype somebody up. But they have this moment, especially in college, where they are mentor, they are guide, they are the hard ass who cracks the whip, they are the guy who picks you up. They know what each player needs. This guy needs to be gassed up. This guy needs to be put down. This is also our scheme. We got to play for the, we got to scout the other team. We got to watch film. They turn themselves into lunatics, and then when they show you like a little glimpse of like, I'm kind of fun, because they feel like they're allowed to, people just gush. And that's where people are at with Nick Saban right now. So that's an easy one. I miss the Pac-12. If you don't know, college football went through this crazy realignment where all the like college football's main thing was history. And it was like the history of it and these historic battles and the Rose Bowl. It's Big Ten versus Pac-10. And then, of course, they became Pac-12, whatever. And now they just threw it all away because money and greed and all sorts of shit. And, like, it'll be fine. It'll lead to more fun games. But it just kind of sucks. They used to have this thing, Pac-12 After Dark. You get to watch Arizona State play Arizona at, like, midnight. It, like, comes on at, like, midnight. You're drunk, and you're like, there's fucking still football? You want to throw money on that? And those were some of the best times. Bad times for people who were sick of you having football on all day, sure. But for you, a special little treat. A special little treat. So I guess for the people who don't know much about football, you're probably going, I do not miss the Pac-12. I do not. But you do. You still do. See, each conference had a vibe to it. It was fun. It was regional. The Pac-12, you have these teams kind of high-flying, throwing the ball around the yard, but could they stack up to the big corn-fed boys in the SEC? Because recruiting is often local. And a lot of times they couldn't. But it's set up for these fun seasons where it's like, what if? What's going to happen? And then you would find out in the bowl games. It would be this really fun thing. And now it's just like super conferences and a 12-team playoff. So each week doesn't matter week over week, but the playoffs will be fun when we get there. But it's just interesting because the NFL is kind of leaning towards, of course, there's parity because the salary cap, teams go up and down, but you have these juggernauts. The Niners are in it every year. The Chiefs are in it every year. And now with college football, you're going to have this playoff, and you're going to have all these sorts of new random teams getting in. So it's going to be fun. It is going to be a fun year. But we're allowed to miss tradition, aren't we? Tradition is a beautiful thing. Tradition is what football is built on. You have those Friday night lights. It's weaved into the fabric of our society. It is a religion. Football is a religion. Think about it. Dominates Sundays. Steeped in tradition, massive in the South, massive in Texas, encourages people to dress up the same, to get excited, to sing songs. There have been abuse allegations. It's basically a religion, except instead of eating a cracker and drinking wine, you're having a burger and drinking a beer. All right? It is a religion. Speaking of religion, let's talk about mushrooms, specifically my friends over at Schedule 35. They are the source for microdosing. They are the first trusted nationwide psilocybin brand. Guys, microdosing, not for everybody. Don't do it if you're not interested in it. I've dabbled a little bit. It's nice. It's very nice. It can open your mind a little bit. It can open your vibe a little bit. And if you want to do it, scheduled, trusted, regimented, Schedule 35 is a great way to do it. And boy, some of those products are rather delicious. They have a chocolate mocha bar where you go, hey, it's microdosing. Don't eat that whole thing. We're not trying to meet God right now, okay? We're just trying to lighten the vibe a little bit. If you're interested in microdosing, I recommend reading more about it, looking into it, seeing if it's right for you. And if it is, I recommend Schedule 35. They are fantastic. The teas, the mushrooms, honestly, everything you could need. Give them a look right now. First sponsor of the podcast. Let's give it up for them. Shout out to Schedule 35. Give them a Joey Show try. Okay, so next up, I want to do a little segment called Coaches Are Fucking Lunatics. Out of sound. That is just true. We already talked about it. I wanted to do a preview of some of the new guys, get people involved here with some of the new faces in the NFL. This serves as that, but at the same time, let's just focus on what's true here. Coaches are insane. We have the new coach of the Carolina Panthers, Dave Canales. A cool, fun story. The dude was like a fucking cowboy boot salesman, like with a day job. Then he started coaching at a high school. Then he started coaching at a college. His wife encouraged him to do it. Steve Sarkisian went to that college. He's like, come to USC. All of a sudden, he gets shepherded by Pete Carroll to the Seahawks. And this guy is just on a friggin' tear. And now all of a sudden, after last year offensive coordinator with the Bucs. He's the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. He's a fit guy. He's an interesting guy. Baker Mayfield calls him an optimistic bully. But there's a human interest piece here, which is that he wrote a book with his wife about how he was an alcoholic and a porn addict who cheated on his wife and now doesn't, but they decided to write a book together. That's a wild way to do it. That is a wild way to do it. I want to start off by saying heavy respect to a man who realized his flaws, stared his vices in the face, appears to have defeated them, has continued to rise professionally, and is owning who he is. The punishment project for being a boozer and a cheat being to write a book with your wife about it is fucking nuts, dude. That is such a wild choice and probably a had to make it choice. But imagine the writing room. I don't think writing a book would be fun anyway. But sitting down to write that book, you know when you like wake up and you're like, okay, what do we got to focus on today? Let's have a cup of coffee. We want to knock things out. Let's do the creative work first. Let's get some writing in. Let's get a good vibe. Let's get some sunlight in here. Let's feel good. Let's feel good. All right, babe, come on in here. It was a weird night in Tallahassee. I was 15 drinks deep, and I saw a trash hooker hanging out with a thong hanging out the back of the door. I mean, what is that process like? And here's where I'm really worried for him. Okay, here's where I'm really worried for him. Again, shout out to him. He found his Christianity. I'm not personally Christian, but I see the power of it. I'm not a hater. I actually, this seems to be a good thing for him, and I respect that. But, there's so many cases where you rush to write the book about the bad thing, and you sell the book about the bad thing. And it works for a bit. And then the bad thing comes back a little bit. And when it comes back, it doesn't come back great. Josh Hamilton, I believe, he had a heroin problem. Then he was on the Texas Rangers, and it was like, he's back. And he had his moment in the sun. Everyone's like, hey, he's back. He did it. He's fucking back. And it's like, when you turn your pain into content, I'm sure the book is great. I'm sure it's well-meaning. I'm sure it's beautiful content. I'm sure it's been healing, and I hope it sticks. But why I'm worried is because now he's the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, and that's going to be a slippery slope. God gives his toughest challenges to his strongest soldiers, and this guy is a God guy, and I think he's going to have a tough battle here. And I hope when that team is friggin', 2-12, and Bryce Young is on the sideline because he's tiny and they have a bad offensive line, I hope he keeps his dick on the sideline, whether it's tiny or not. I hope the offensive line of his zipper is stronger than the offensive line they got down there in Carolina. We are rooting for him. We are rooting for Dave. We are rooting for Dave Canales to continue being a good man, but fucking shitfuck, I'm nervous for him. I am nervous for him, but shout out to him for owning it. Kind of a wild take. I believe I read somewhere that he blamed porn as the reason for ultimately drinking and cheating. Kind of a gateway drug sort of idea. Possible. I know a lot of people who watch porn and don't use that as a reason to cheat. So throwing that out there. In fact, a lot of people use porn as a reason to empty the chamber. Whew. Clear the mechanism. Whew. Let's focus on what matters. Whew. Let's not chase that person that you don't want in your life. Okay? Let's just empty the chamber. Whew. Get back to work. Don't tell me this man wrote a book without cranking once. Don't tell me you wrote an entire book without one writer's block driven fappity-doo-dah-day? Oh, Dave, let's be real. But shout out to him. I could be, maybe I'm being cynical. Maybe I'm the piece of shit. Shout out to Dave Canales. We wish you luck. We wish you luck. He is sober now. That's a good thing to do if you need to do it. We support that. I've talked a lot about why you should party on this show. I want to be clear. Sometimes you shouldn't, all right? Sometimes you got to get your shit together. You got to write that book with your wife, whatever the fuck you're supposed to do. That being said, for those who do still drink, we have another segment here, and this is how to bet/drink/consume football without ruining your relationship. Play us out. I don't think you can. Thank you. That has been the segment. No. There's ways. I want to discuss the toxic football fan. It exists. People have toxic traits as football fans. You don't know ball, ruining other people's lives, getting emotional over a game that is supposed to be fun. This is a balance. With every piece of fandom, you need enough emotion so that the highs can be high. But if you're letting the lows become too low, not good. Let's remember, you have a real life. Football doesn't care about you. The players don't care about you. The team doesn't care about you. Let's remember that, but care enough so that you can have some fun. Nothing works if you don't care about it. That's life. Nothing works if you don't care about it. You have to. But there's ways to care without being a toxic, disgusting piece of shit. Although, I do wonder, sometimes I have this kind of like daydream, this sort of thought where it's like, would it be fun? Would it be fun to just give up? Would it be fun to be like, I am not going to the gym anymore. I am not trying to push my career anymore. My obligations, fuck them. My personal life, fuck it. Relationships, fuck it. I want to be, how long is it fun to be the guy alone at B-Dubs? B-Dubs getting a lot of shout outs today. Drinking your 12th, triple IPA after the local, softball league that you're in, which is the one main thing that you do, and popping like a Vike and just sitting there and just disassociating and just wearing like a fucking Colts jersey and being like, I fucking, your hat doesn't fit anymore, and you're like, dude, I swear to God, dude, and if you ask Coach and you have a dip in, I fucking swear to God, dude, and if you ask Coach, he'd tell you, I could have been playing on Sundays, dude. And you could ask Coach, dude. You could ask, and if you did, and I don't know what he's up to, but if you asked him, I could be playing on Sundays. And the guy next to you is like, I don't know who you are, and you're scaring my daughter. So please don't. So that's obviously a horrible way to live your life. That is a toxic trait of being a football fan. You don't want to be that guy. But what's the window where that's fun? There's got to be like a year and a half before your body is just like a full expression of the anger that you're not letting out because you're not living in accordance with your spirit and your soul and who you're supposed to be, and you're not taking care of your body, which genuinely requires it. And but for like a year where you're just like, it's summer. It's summer. It's the endless summer. Like as an adult to pretend like it's still summer. Is that fun for a bit? Don't do it. Don't do it. We know it matters. We all know here at the Joey Show, the 12 know that life is about being a good person. That life is something that whether you're religious or not, you know inside of you whether or not you're being a good person. We all know it. We can feel it. You don't need a book to tell you. You don't need a person to tell you. You just need clear enough channels of communication with yourself to tell you. And those can be hard to cultivate. Can get very foggy sometimes. It's hard for me. It takes work. It takes work day over day. Like you are training to be an actual football player. It's hard. But here at the Joey Show, we also wonder, what if we didn't do that? What if we didn't do that? Would it be fun for a bit to just go full piece of shit? Just like for a bit. Would that be fun? Probably. Probably for a bit. But you can't outrun your soul, brother. Can't outrun Satan because he's right there with you. Can't outrun God because he's the owner of the race. That's what they say down in Mississippi. I made that one up. Okay. So, how to bet, drink, consume football without ruining your relationship. We don't want to ruin our relationship. We want our relationship with the game to be good. Get your significant other addicted to gambling by having them add $5 to your parlay. This is very smart. A taste, I believe they call that in the drug dealing world. And what is gambling but not a drug? It enriches other people. There's no way to fully win, and it gives you a nice little feeling for a while. It ends up making you feel worse after. Get them addicted. Give them a little 5 on the parlay. Just say, babe, here's the parlay. You know, and don't put the fucking Patriots or the Falcons or the Sam Darnold-led Vikings in there. Give her a juicy one. He or she. Don't go long odds. They're not going to care about my 5 is 25 now. They're just going to be like, did we lose? No. Give them a favorites one. 5 to win 7 or 8, you know? Like something that was like, we could really win here. Give them a little taste. Get them in there. Now all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, do we have anything on this game?" All of a sudden you're watching Sunday Night Football. They know you're not an Eagles or a Rams fan. But all of a sudden they go, do we get a little bit on this game? Hey, baby, do we get a little bit on this game? All of a sudden, well, let's just bring the laundry out to the main room. Let's just fold it there. We'll watch the end of the game. We got a little bit on that game. We got to watch. That's how you do it. Sometimes some guys get angry watching football. I don't think that's acceptable. All right, you need to hit the gym before the game. Hit the gym before the game. If you're gonna be on the couch going fucking shit, fuck, people don't like that. They're going to take it out on the rest of the season. You got to take a long view of your ability to watch football. And if you're one of the people who doesn't watch football, make them go to the gym before. Or get a hitting sled in your living room. So this is an idea that I had is you put beers on the other side, and then that hitting sled that the offensive lineman, then you get that out. Downstairs neighbors don't love it. Fuck them. We get a hitting sled, put the beers on the other side. It's just a concept. Stand up from time to time, too. Get loose. Take care of your health. Mental, spiritual, physical health. It's a long season. It's a long season, guys. Don't be an idiot. Pre-purchasing some apology gifts is good in case you do fuck up. A couple things around the house. Nice things. Even if it's like, we're out of, hey, I noticed we were out of toilet paper. I got that today. Hey, just so you know, go long. Trumpet. Go long. Throw the fucking paper. If you move a TV out, put it back, guys. Put it back. Don't make football a fun thing. Don't make a mess. All right. I do believe there are some people that are against football. I'm lucky. My wife likes it a bit. Definitely sensing some disappointment. Even just a day ago when I was like, Florida State's playing Boston College. She's like, wow, your 2 favorite teams. I go, well, first of all, I took Florida State to a fucking natty in NCW. You know that well. Second of all, Florida State lost to Georgia Tech. I could be watching the downfall immediately of a program. Was I right? I was right. Downfall immediately. Fun to watch. But she's not anti it. So if your partner is anti-football, that's not great. If you're someone who's really against it, that's a toxic trait. You got to allow for space here. But the onus is on the fan to make it a non-gross experience. Don't be that lunatic who leaves a mess. Don't be that lunatic who gets angry. Don't be that lunatic who doesn't do anything. It's a long season for everybody. All right? Act accordingly. That being said, the Super Bowl in 2026 is on Valentine's Day. Wait, how's that possible? Hold up. Matt, that can't be true. Valentine's Day is on a Thursday. All right, that doesn't make sense. Oh, wait, what? Valentine's Day. Oh, it's the 14th. Damn, I'm fucking Damn, I messed that up. Valentine's Day 2026 is on Saturday, February 14th. Super Bowl 2026. Oh, is it Levi's Stadium? Oh, Super Bowl. Oh, my God. Oh, it's Super Bowl 2027. Oh, dear. Super Bowl 2027 is on Valentine's Day. Good luck. I think that's all I have for that one. Super Bowl 2027 is on Valentine's Day. My advice, good luck. That's an interesting one. Yeah, buy a gift in advance. Maybe go out to dinner the night before. We're not doing it day of, ladies. We know that. Come on now. Don't be crazy. Just say you're excited for the halftime show. And then here's one more. Take her out to breakfast. That's a nice one. But be careful, though, because if you're going to do breakfast, great. Knock that out Sunday. We're having a Sunday, and then you can kind of relax in. But be careful. Don't let that turn into activities during the 1 o'clock window. This is for East Coast guys. West Coast guys, don't do it. West Coast guys, just wake up hungover and just kind of be like, it is what it is, babe. I love you, but come on. Come on. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. So those are some pieces of advice. I think that the key to all of it is a balanced perspective. Don't be a football lunatic. Your life is bigger than the game, all right? But be interested enough that you get to enjoy it because it is fun. It's coming back, and I'm very excited for it. It was crazy. I was out in Vegas. God, people were fired up. People were fired up for the LSU-USC game, and it was fun to see that football energy. Interesting experience performing in Vegas. It's almost like I was at Kimmel's Comedy Club. Thanks to everybody who came out. It's almost like doing a corporate gig. I could tell that a lot of these people weren't my fans, and so there's a lot of prove it. There's a lot of this isn't Jimmy Kimmel going on. And so it can be kind of tough, but it was a fun time. And Daoud Namyar, check him out. Very funny. Was with me all weekend. We had a lovely time. We walked the strip. We got to see Lil Wayne. If you don't know this about me, I tend to be a lucky person. I do have good luck. And I know what you're thinking. Daddy must have cleaned up in Vegas. No, I lost money. So luck never wins in gambling. That's not a real thing. Vegas will eat you. It's why the chandeliers are fucking made of diamonds. You paid for those. But we had after-party tickets through Kevin Hart's Festival because my manager got me on a list. We got to go to the after-party. One of the after-party nights was Lil Wayne. So we go to the guy. We go, hey, guest list. He said, the guest list is closed. Try your luck at the table reservations. So we go to the table reservations, and that guy's like, I don't know, I'll pass you on to this next line. So we go into the next line, and we're sitting there, and it is not moving, and we're not even guaranteed to get in. It's already 1:30. I was trying to pull an all-nighter for my flight. I bumped my flight from 11 a.m. to 7 a.m. I was like, I'll just stay up. Daddy's cooking. And we're sitting there, and the line's not moving, and we're thinking, we are cooked right now. I want to see Small Wayne. And I look up, and I see a guy, and I recognize him. And I'm like, fuck, how do I know this guy? Give me a second. I'm like cycling names. I'm like, guy, Instagram, DM'd me. Almost did a private event with him in Salt Lake City. Aaron! And he looks at me. We've never met. And he's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, you got a table? And he's like, yeah, can I come? And he's like, how many? And I'm like, me and this guy. Daoud, he's a guy, but he's blonde. Maybe he's a chick. He's like, fine, fuck it. We go in. Next thing I know, boom. Inside Lil Wayne, table service, free drinks all night, freak incidents, a moment in time. Saw 4 or 5 other people, random people, by chance people who recognized me. It was like walking around Vegas was crazy. I was like, people know who I am? This is crazy. Listen to the podcast. Become one of the 12. But no, we had a great time. It was very fun. Did I think that drinking sometimes provides me fuel? There are times when I can run on it where it's like, I would have been asleep. I just bought 4 hours. Couple drinks, daddy's up. Let's go. Let's get it. Table service drinking is a little different. Shots are free. Drinks are free. You mix in a Red Bull. There's a lot of up, down. And you're kind of thinking this is an economic decision. I'm getting free drinks at a club. Each one of these is like $25, $30. Vegas is too expensive. I'm thinking I'm making money, baby. And then I woke up on my bed in all my clothes at 8 a.m. Flight was gone. Fuck me. Status at United now, kind of a big deal. Free flight change, made it back. Had a nice time. But Vegas was lovely. And yeah, I think that's more or less it. Dude, I've been watching, I guess the last thing here is I've been watching Peaky Blinders. Very late to the party. Why is that? I know people watch that show. Why is that not the biggest show in the world? Cillian Murphy with those sexy little fucking eyes looking, Everyone's just dressed nice. Everyone has like a lovely suit and they're beating the fuck out of people and drinking all day. I'm like, this looks sick. This looks awesome. They're all skinny and hot. I'm like, how do they drink all day and they're all skinny and hot? And then I'm like, oh yeah, the actors don't. Fair point. But boy, that's what makes acting dangerous, is because it looks so romantic to just be in great shape but drinking all day and like beating the fuck out of people in a three-piece. Making the post-World War I era of Birmingham, England look like a snack I want to eat is devilish behavior. But the show is fun. But the one thing that I was picking up from it, it almost made me sad, is I was like, these people are kind of hanging all the time. They just go to a bar and talk. They have family meeting and talk. When the guy's alone, he gets sad and smokes opium. Fine, not good. He has his demons. So dark and hot. But usually he's just talking to people. When he's scheming in his head. He's scheming, he's talking to people. He's not on his fucking phone. He's not on his computer. I am sick of being on my phone and computer all the time. I talked about FOMO at the beginning of this. There's a weird double fear of missing out that I think is going on, where there's so much going on online that for people that are plugged into it, the fear of missing out is what's happening online. You'll be at a dinner with your friends looking at your phone. What's happening online? Look at what's this, what's that. Look what's going on. But that's not what's going on. You're missing out on stuff in the real world. There's this weird social, parasocial thing going on. A lot of people have talked about it, but I can only talk in my own life. I have this dichotomy of I am a comedian and I do comedy in the real world. I walk around Vegas. I run into people. Hey, where do I know you from? A lot of people don't know who I am, but know that they know me. Hey, where do I know you from? Whatever. I'm like, oh, check it out. Come to the show. Oh, my God. Don't die on me again. People will come up to me. They know who I am, blah, blah, blah. And it's really rewarding when I'm in the real world. I talk to people. They're like, damn, things must be going well. And I go, I guess so. I didn't think about it that way because I spend most of my time working on content, putting content out, seeing how it's doing. And I got to be honest, none of that is fulfilling. I like sitting here, but packaging and posting, yuck. I like doing stand-up, but going through all of the footage as I do, clipping it, making sure that I think it's good enough. That is not as fun. And then the reward when you put it online is like, ooh, that did well, but it's tied into a metric. And that metric can always get higher. And so you're kind of left with this empty feeling of like, oh, that did well and that's good and that helped my career. But it's not the same feeling as getting off stage after a show, meeting someone in person, realizing they like your stuff. And so that I find to be rewarding. And so it's a balance. You can't just, the world is online now. And for people who do what I'm doing, you have to be online. You can't miss out on that. You got to put your stuff out. That's how I sell shows. That's how people know me. That's how I can make any money doing this. That's how I can keep doing it. And it is rewarding when something does well. But I feel this empty feeling, and I sense that a lot of people are feeling it too. And that if you spend all your time focused on what's going on in the online world, you will know what's going on. It will be interesting. You will be plugged in. But it will never give you that feeling of what it's like when you're actually out there, when you actually see people. So I think the main thing is finding a balance, keeping online where it deserves to be a piece of your life, and then having a much richer, a much fuller actual life that you engage with. Because there's never, as long as we sit in these bodies that were built by evolution, going to be something that is a substitute for a real fucking life experience. A real conversation with a friend. A real show, even going to a comedy show, seeing it in person. It's better. So do that. Come out to my shows, joeyavery.com/live. Wasn't meant to be an ad, but it works. And balance. Balance. It goes with what I was just talking about now. It goes with how you're supposed to enjoy being a football fan. Don't be a fucking lunatic. Don't be a psychopath. Enjoy it. It's fun. It's back. Let's have a nice time. But again, please come see me on tour, joeyavery.com/live. I've got Chicago coming up. I will be in Madison, Detroit, and Minnesota with Noel Miller. Coming back to Minnesota to headline in January. But Chicago, Baltimore this month, Edmonton, Portland, Vancouver next month. And I know we've got Houston. I don't know if they're announced yet, but just letting you know that Austin, Nashville, Atlanta, San Jose coming down the motherfucking line. And where else do you want me to go? joeyavery.com/tell me where to perform. Like, subscribe, suck your own cock. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you guys so much for listening to the show. I appreciate it, especially those of you who are enjoying the solo episodes. I know that this is it's harder to grow it this way, but I do think these are fun. I try to put effort into these, try to make them funny, hopefully interesting. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week. This has been The Joey Show. I'm Joey Avery. Good night. Thank God I have a podcast.